Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Thomas Take Sports Podcast. I'm Ryan Thomas, your host once again, bringing you another edition of the Thomas Take. I am a journalist from Buffalo, New York, write for MyFantasySportsTalk.com, Sabres Hockey Central, Buffalo Football Central, and the host of this podcast. Also, I'm missing one. Man, I'm losing track of all the ones that I write for. I really am. There's another one in there, and I'm missing it, and I'm feeling like I'm floating in quicksand. I can't think of it. My mind is so scrambled from this Super Bowl. Oh, it was crazy. So that being said, if you haven't tuned into my Super Bowl post-game reaction, tune into that. I talked about the Patriots, talked about the Falcons. What really went wrong for Atlanta? Where did it start to go wrong? And many other topics within the Super Bowl. Wasn't it awesome, though? Can I go back a little bit? Wasn't it awesome to see Tom Brady hug his mom? Like, that was the best part, I think, of the entire Super Bowl. And honestly, it honestly choked me up a little bit when I saw the picture of him hugging his mom. She's been through, I'm pretty sure, I don't want to speculate because it's a real personal, thing within their family, the fact that she's been sick, but I'm pretty sure that she has some form of cancer. She had went through radiation and chemotherapy the last 18 months. So for Tom Brady to win the Super Bowl in the fashion that he did, and for her to be there, that was pretty nice. That was a good feel-good moment of the game when there was so many. That was probably the number one feel-good moment of the Super Bowl. So that being said, I wanted to give you guys the update on the current Buffalo Bills coaching staff, led by head coach Sean McDermott of the Buffalo Bills. McDermott is the head coach, obviously. Offensive coordinator is Rick Dennison, formerly of the Denver Broncos. Leslie Frazier, formerly of the Minnesota Vikings, and the head coach of the Minnesota Vikings. Quarterbacks coach David Culley from the Kansas City Chiefs. Running backs coach Kelly Skipper. Wide receivers coach Phil McGogan. He is the former wide receivers coach for the Miami Dolphins. Is highly credited for developing Jarvis Landry into the wide receiver that he is today. Landry was great at LSU. He had Odell Beckham on the other side of the field. You had Jarvis Landry on one side. They were a dynamic duo, and I thought Landry would be a good receiver coming out of college. He's been on my fantasy team the past couple years, so I know firsthand how good he is from that week to week. He's a reliable receiver for fantasy football. So Phil McGogan, he's the wide receivers coach. He'll be working exclusively with the wide receivers. Offensive line and run game coordinator Juan Castillo, and then the assistant offensive line, Anthony Dees. Tight ends, Rob Boris. He's the tight ends coach. He's the former offensive coordinator for the Los Angeles Rams. The best hire on the staff is not Sean McDermott, is not Rick Dennison, is not Leslie Frazier. The best hire, and I'm going to say it again, the best hire on the staff is defensive line coach Mike Waffle of the Los Angeles Rams, formerly the Los Angeles Rams. What a great hire that'll be. I honestly, that pumped me up to see that guy get hired as the defensive lines coach, knowing what I know about him, knowing what I saw from him from the Hard Knocks series. This guy takes no shit from anybody. And of all the prima donnas that are on this, that have shown laziness and the lack of the lack of motivation, I should say, it's on the best part of their defense, which is the defensive line. Marcel Darius, I don't care what anybody says. Marcel Darius got suspended 4 games, comes back out of shape, and re-injures his hamstring. He was overweight, out of shape, didn't care. And for the Buffalo Bills to pay him that much money, I know if I was getting paid that much money to provide my athletic talent to a team, I would care. And the fact that he showed that he didn't want to stay committed and stay focused and stay in shape allowed him to get hurt again. That will not that will not happen as long as Mike Waffle is the defensive line coach. Danny Crossman is back as the special teams coordinator. Defensive line assistant is Bill Tierlink. He's a guy that has been with Mike Waffle on several other occasions throughout their pit stops before. Chad Hall is an offensive assistant. He's a former NFL wide receiver. Defensive backs coach Gil Bird. That's the most recent hiring that the Bills have had. And Gil Bird was a pretty stout NFL player. The father of former Buffalo Bills safety Jarris Bird. And he was somebody that I thought that they would maybe try to bring in when they had Jarris Bird on their team, because Gilbert has been a coach for quite some time. He was a two-time Pro Bowler in 1991 and 1992 for the San Diego Chargers. After graduating from San Jose State University, he's inducted into the Chargers Hall of Fame in 1998. So he's a decent player, not a bad player whatsoever. He's been coaching since 2003. He was promoted to a secondary coach in 2005 for the Rams after volunteering for the Rams, and worked with the Bears in 2006, worked with the Bears in another capacity of the defensive backs safeties coach, going from the assistant to the actual defensive backs coach. Was fired on January 19th of 2013, and he became the cornerbacks coach for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in 2014. So he's been out of the league for a couple years. Two sons, obviously, Gilbert Jr. and Jarris Bird, played for New Mexico State and Oregon. He was a second-round pick of the Bills in 2009. He moved to free safety, made the Pro Bowl in 2009, 2012, and 2013. So the key feature of this staff is really experience. Sean McDermott is going into his 19th season in the NFL. Rick Dennison is going into his 19th season. Leslie Frazier, I believe, is going into his 23rd season in the NFL. So for the three major core positions of your coaching staff, to have 23 plus 19 plus 19, that is remarkable. And I am really excited to see what type of staff this is. It's 61 years of competitive coaching experience inside the National Football League. I'm really excited to see what this does, how this approach relays the message to the Bills, if it does relay the message to the Bills, I should say. And I thought really that Rex should not have been fired. But in the wake of the statements that he made a couple days ago, as funny as they were when he literally said F the Bills and I'm sick of getting F'd over, as funny as that was, it only proved why they should have fired him. Tensions were really high within the organization over the Tyrod Taylor contract, and I hate to say it, but I was right about that. The contract was the wrong contract to write. There was a $30 million injury clause written into the contract. It was a mess. It was virtually, that contract is a mess. It's a mess, and I hate to sound like Donald Trump, but it's a disaster. It really was. And he's had the groin surgery now, so there's a halo hanging over his head. I have really. They're basically, what they're going to do is they're going to keep him because they have to. They don't have a choice. They don't have the scouting department with the mental capability to go out and scout each quarterback with a fine brush comb, go over the lay of the land, so to speak, and bring in a guy that can actually be a quarterback in this league. There's one out there. They're just not competent enough to go out and find him. But a decent staff so far. I think they're experienced. They're a great experienced staff, and I look forward to seeing what they do for the Buffalo Bills. I think right now, as it stands, there's an 80% chance that Tyrod Taylor will remain the quarterback for the Buffalo Bills, and Buffalo will not draft a quarterback in this year's draft class. I think E.J. Manuel will actually be kept along the way as a backup along with Cardale Jones everything will stay the same at the quarterback position, and Rick Dennison will do what he can to get Tyrod up to speed. That was the Thomas Take. Take care. I'm Ryan Thomas.